Friday's July 18th edition of PFTPM begins with a hiccup, literally. A power outage forced a restart, and instead of picking up where it left off, host Mike Florio decided to re-record from scratch. It couldn't be worse than the first attempt, and maybe, just maybe, it might turn out even better. After all, even in the so-called dead zone of the NFL calendar, the news never really slows down. And right now, the NFL Players Association is at the heart of the chaos. The firestorm began with a spark back on Memorial Day weekend, during a conversation with Michael Hawley on PFT Live. Florio recalled a long-forgotten collusion grievance ruling that had quietly been buried, hidden in plain sight. That triggered a relentless pursuit to unearth the truth. Florio teamed up with Pablo Torre, who ultimately discovered and published the ruling. The two collaborated, challenged each other, and did what real sports journalism is meant to do: expose the things powerful institutions don't want you to know. And as more details surfaced, including a second hidden grievance and glaring conflicts of interest involving NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell, the pressure reached a boiling point. Late Thursday night, Howell resigned. The official line, conveniently leaked to ESPN, was that Howell made the decision on his own. The executive committee was reportedly caught off guard. Maybe that's true, or maybe the truth is murkier. Did Howell reach a breaking point and jump ship? Or was he nudged toward the exit with a not-so-subtle suggestion? Whatever the case, something triggered his departure, and the full picture is still coming into focus. ESPN recently published reports that added fuel to the fire, including a 2011 gender discrimination lawsuit tied to Booz Allen Hamilton, Howell's former employer. But one person has notably been absent from this recent reporting blitz: JC Tretter. Tretter was president of the NFLPA when Howell was selected through a suspiciously secretive process. A year later, Howell created a brand new position, Chief Strategy Officer, and hired Tretter to fill it. Yet despite Tretter's involvement in shaping the leadership, he hasn't been mentioned once in ESPN's detailed coverage. Why? It raises questions about who's feeding information to media outlets and whether there's a deliberate effort to protect certain names. To those who've been paying attention, it's clear Howell and Tretter are linked. And if Howell's actions are now under scrutiny, it only makes sense to take a closer look at Tretter's role too. The immediate question facing the NFLPA is, what happens next? The executive committee will need to gather the player representatives to appoint an interim director, something not explicitly outlined in the union's constitution. Back in 2008, when Gene Upshaw passed away, then General Counsel Richard Berthelsen filled in temporarily. This time around, Don Davis, whose name has circulated for over a week, is a possible replacement. Tom DePasso, the current General Counsel, is retiring, but could also be tapped in the short term. Ideally, whoever steps in on an interim basis should not be angling for the full-time job. This isn't the moment for politics. It's about stabilizing a damaged ship, especially with training camps about to open. The larger issue extends beyond Howell. Will players finally assert control over their own union? For too long, apathy and short-term career outlooks have allowed others to seize power. The NFLPA is supposed to be run by the players, but without engagement and unity, the organization can be steered by outside influences. And if players buy into the idea that the media is the enemy, it becomes easier for the real power brokers to operate in the shadows. The question now is whether the players are ready to wake up and reclaim their union, or if the same closed-circle decision-making will continue unchecked. Shifting to the field, a major headline emerged in Pittsburgh. T.J. Watt got paid. Big time. The Steelers inked him to a 4-year, $144.05 million deal, with $108 million fully guaranteed at signing. It's the most ever guaranteed to a non-quarterback, and Watt, who turns 31 in October, becomes the highest-paid defender in league history. The new deal averages $41 million per year and comes with a $40 million signing bonus. This isn't smoke and mirrors either. No fake final year inflating the average. The money is real and front-loaded, including a $15 million roster bonus due early in the final year, forcing the team to make a real decision. It's a masterclass in player leverage and negotiation, and a rare instance where a non-quarterback was able to break the mold of the Steelers' typically conservative contract approach. What does this mean for Micah Parsons? Not much, because Parsons was already going to blow the roof off the market. He's 4.5 years younger than Watt, entering his second contract, and his payday is expected to eclipse $45 million per year. The Cowboys had an opportunity to extend him months ago when the market was more favorable, but now the price tag has climbed. Florio advised Parsons not to take another step onto the field until the Cowboys offer him what he deserves. In other news, Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice pleaded guilty to 2 felony counts stemming from a street racing incident in Dallas. His sentence includes 30 days in jail and 5 years probation. Now comes the NFL's turn to impose discipline. 2 options are on the table: negotiate a suspension with the league or fight it through the official disciplinary process. The latter, however, is unlikely to help Rice, given that the evidence is public and damning. A negotiated deal, say an 8 to 10 game suspension, would be the most pragmatic route. Rice needs to return, prove he's healthy, and reestablish his value heading into a critical stretch of his career. A few mailbag questions closed out the show. One listener asked what should be a non-negotiable for players in the next CBA. Florio responded bluntly, "It doesn't matter unless players are willing to miss games. The owners will present a final offer, and if history is any indicator, the players will take it." Another listener asked whether the league is at risk of becoming too player-driven like the NBA. Not likely. In fact, the NFL still leans heavily in favor of ownership, with fans too often aligning with billionaire owners rather than players fighting for fair treatment. Some wondered whether Florio himself would make a good NFLPA executive director. He shot that down immediately, not interested. Representing a disengaged group of players would be a thankless job, and he's not turning his life upside down for a cause that the players themselves don't seem passionate about. But hypothetically, if he held the job, his first move would be to pursue the collusion grievance appeal with full force. It's a potential goldmine, leverage in the form of billions. If players won't strike to gain power, maybe a legal victory could give them the leverage they need. As for CJ Stroud and Lamar Jackson, Stroud isn't eligible for a new deal until after this coming season, but Lamar could take a stand now, especially in light of the collusion evidence. He has the receipts. The only question is whether he's willing to draw a line in the sand. The problem? Great quarterbacks often care more about legacy and competition than leverage, and owners know it. A viewer asked about the NFL's broadcast arrangements. How can the league get away with putting playoff games on streaming platforms like Peacock or Netflix? Florio explained that the antitrust exemption allows a certain number of games to be exclusive, provided local markets still get access for free, but don't expect to see the Super Bowl go pay-per-view anytime soon. That would cross a red line and jeopardize the league's antitrust shield. Finally, someone asked Florio if he misses practicing law. Not even a little. While he sometimes dreams about arguing a compelling case, especially when it comes to collusion, he doesn't miss the stress, the burden, or the long hours spent worrying about clients' fates. He likes where he is now, still in the legal weeds, but with none of the courtroom headaches. With just 13 days until the Hall of Fame game and 41 days until the regular season kicks off, the NFL news cycle is about to go into overdrive. Training camps are opening. Storylines are exploding. And if the past few weeks are any indication, the slow season is officially dead. Stay tuned, because it's only getting started.